Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with my review of the Power Rangers movie Legacy figures. So these are in the same, well, Legacy line as we've been getting MMPR, Ninja Storm, Space, and then Zeo coming up. The sort of larger collector's grade line that come with a Build-A-Megazord piece. This whole wave of 6 figures, the Core 5 and Alpha, are Toys R Us exclusives, and each one included a piece to build the Megazord, which we see back there. And personally, like, this is my ideal way that I think they should be releasing it, is just the full team for one wave and then build that season's Megazord. As people have pointed out to me, I can see why they do it a bit. In terms of, like, you know, putting MMPR and other teams that sell better in other waves. But at the very least, I feel that even if we have a wave mixed with, you know, multiple teams in one wave, it should all build the same Megazord, because it's kind of redonkulous that it can take you 3 or plus waves to complete a Megazord. But anyway, that's my review of their system and trying to figure out how to release this very basic toy line. But now let's go for the figures. So let's start with Alpha, because I said so. But so yeah, I was kind of surprised we got Alpha, especially since, like, in general, since we got the 5-inch one, but we got a Legacy one too, and it's a nice figure. It's basically just like a Honey, I Shrunk Their Kids or Grew the Kids larger version of the 5-inch one, whereas the Rangers, I feel, have more clear, better details in some areas than their standard counterparts. I think Alpha almost looks exactly the same. He has a little bit better-ish articulation, kind of, but it's nice. And it's got those nice joints, and they don't feel loose on Alpha. That sounded really weird when I said it like that. And he's got, like, a nice head joint here, and he's, like, totally going out of focus. It's like the camera's like, let me see the Rangers. But yeah, it's a nice little Alpha figure. It's probably better than the 5-inch one, but it's not quite as different as the others are for me. So that's a thing. He can do, like, a little bit more of a, like, you know, with the hand twist, so you can get him in more of a... I was trying to get the other Alpha in that pose, kind of like from the trailer, where he's like, I'm kind of expecting something more. That was terrible. That was like Guilmon, if he ever went through puberty. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with Red. So I've already reviewed this mold from the... which is right here. This was the New York Comic Con exclusive, sort of, it's like translucent, lucent slash metallic-y. And I still feel that maybe this one, neither one I feel is 100% accurate to the way it looks in the movie. I feel like this one, it could just be me, seems a little bit more. I think that there's like a middle ground between the two, which is more what it looks like, because I feel that these are more along the lines of the standard 5-inch ones compared to the Target exclusive set, which is a little more metallic-y. But, and then where is it? There's a comparison here. Here's next to the 5-inch version. As you can see, it fills out quite a bit more of the details of the suit, and also the helmets are a bit more refined. So they're very nice looking, and I'm really torn on these figures, because I think look-wise, they're the best option of movie figures we have right now, in terms of details and sculpt. But there's also little problems that bother me about this mold, mainly this little gap here, which I highlighted in that review. There's a little gap here as well, and it's just little things like that just hold it back from being great. But the articulation is the same. It's really nice articulation. You got a nice all-around movement here, swiveling at the hands, single elbow joint, nice articulation on the legs. Knee joint there. You can move the feet around a little bit so you can actually get him in some decent little posy poses. Not Tyler posy, but just like poses. Head up and down, around. The articulation on his head's like better than the girl ones, which I'll get to. He comes with a power sword here. The only difference between this one and the one you got with the other one is the color here. And then his chest moves here, and which obviously creates discrepancies in the design, and his chest moves up and down a little bit as well. So well articulated, and it's kind of the same point that stands from my original review of the New York one, is that I really like the way they look, but there's just little things that hold it back. Alright, to do a girl mold here, let me straighten this out a bit, and the blurriness will go away in just a second after I straighten her out. Okay, so let me show, I didn't bring a comparison for everybody, but just I wanted to get two. One huge positive of these is I feel they don't look quite as oddly alienly lanky as the 5-inch mold, so that's a plus. And I really like the way her helmet looks in the Legacy version. It really accentuates the pointed look of hers and the pterodactyl look. So I think it looks pretty good. The base articulation of her arms and legs are the same as Red. The only difference for the girls is they have this bit of a hinged chest, which actually is kind of nice in some ways because you can get him in sort of more of a like a looking down pose, but both the hinge joints on pink and yellow for me are loose, which is super annoying. Yellow more so. To be honest, I'm surprised she's still standing up. I had a heck of a time trying to get her to stand for a picture for the thumbnail. One thing that is kind of bothers me with hers is that the way her neck is designed, even with the head articulation, like if I want to get her looking to the side, it's hard to get her looking without having that confused dog look, which is kind of annoying. So that's just like a minor pet peeve. And unfortunately, the girl mold still also has that gap there as well. Not the thigh gap, but it looks a little awkward. The arms actually don't have it as much. You can see the arms actually look a little bit more flush than the guy ones, but the legs still have it, which is kind of annoying. It's like the little things. And then she doesn't want to stand. It's like, come on, sight. Or I guess in her sense, come on, daughter. That was just, oh my god. All right, let's do yellow just because I said so. So I didn't do comparisons for everyone. I just wanted to bring out, like I said, 2 molds to show it. But yellow looks good. It's just, she's the most loose of them. You know how it is? No, I'm sorry. That was too far. But like, hers, it's mainly the chest area. This is just way awkward. But like, it's really loose on mine. So I have a hard time getting her to stand because she's like, all of a sudden has narcolepsy, and it creates some problems. But the figure looks good. I might even have to wait for like a sale and pick up another one of her. I'm just going to lie it down for now. Black's looks really good. He's another one I might, just because I'm so nitpicky, there's a tiny little scratch on there that I might pick up another one. But black and blue I think are my favorite designs, and I think black might be my favorite of the bunch in terms of the way the design makes him look, because you have little things like the actual like mastodon-like horns there, which I think look really nice. So he's probably my favorite of the bunch of these that I've gotten, and I think his looks really good. And blue, it's weird because blue's steadily been becoming my favorite because I think his helmet looks the most alien, which is what they're going for. But for some reason, I feel like this guy's head sculpt isn't the best blue head sculpt we've gotten. I feel that his has a bit more accentuating details on his helmet, kind of like Pink's. But I feel like it's just not quite as well represented here. It could just be me, but like I'm looking at the large big figure ones, like his helmet just looks a little better on there. Like the figure overall is still decent looking, but I was a little disappointed because I was most looking forward to blue. And like I said, it could be me, but it's just something is off about it that I feel some of the other figures and whatnot have gotten. All right, now here I think is the true highlight of this wave, which is the figure for the Megazord. I've stated in multiple reviews, I'm actually a big fan of this design, and I think this is the best looking version of the Megazord we've gotten. It's first of all nice to have a well-articulated version. It's not as quite as articulated as the Rangers because it's buildable. This can pop off easily if you force it around too much, but still you get some nice articulation, and it forms together really nicely. You can't do up and down movement, but you can do side to side on the head. But it forms together really nicely to where the joints don't feel loose, even though it's a Build-A-Figure, but they're not ridiculous. Like a couple of the leg joints in particular on some of the previous Build-A-Figures were ridiculous trying to pop them in there. So, but just detail-wise, I think this thing looks outstanding. I think it does a great job of representing it the way it looks in the movie, where it's not so... the colors aren't so prominent. I still wish these were pulled back a little bit more. The yellow seems a bit bright, but still, between this and the interactive, I think it's the best example of what it looks like. And like the differentiating colors and the different silvers, again, probably could be a little bit better if they made this look a little more metallic-y, but still is the closest we've gotten, and it looks great. And the way that this paint looks here on the visor, it's kind of got like a shiny, cosmic-y look. I just think it looks outstanding. I'm really, really happy with it. My main little nitpicks about this are very minor. It would just be bringing down some color a bit and maybe trying to bring this light silver up a little bit, and maybe the wings too to make it look a little bit more shiny, because I think that this actually has a fairly decent dark metal look. And if this had a little bit of, not even like a chrome look or anything I'm talking about, just kind of like a glittery shine, like there's some silver paint on Figuarts and like other figures I've had where it's like got this bit of a shine sparkle to it, and it would be perfect if it had that. But otherwise, I think this is probably my favorite Build-A-Megazord figure, just because I really like this design, and it's been kind of hit and miss with trying to get a toy that's 100% represented it well, and I think it looks really nice. And again, it's nice to just be able to buy the whole wave, get the whole team, and get the whole Megazord. It's like ideal for me. But yeah, overall, I would say this wave is a bit of a mixed bag, though. And it's kind of awkward because I really like these designs and I really do quite like the figures. I think they look good for the most part, but unfortunately I do have a little bit of problems with the mold, with loose joints, and then mainly it's not even actually the loose joints that bother me, but it's this little gap here, especially since we have other figures in this line that don't suffer from that problem. But then it also brings it up with the Megazord, which I think is absolutely awesome. So, like I said, it's kind of hard to reach a recommendation because I think these figures are solid, and if you're a fan of them, I can recommend checking them out. But they're very imperfect, but I think they're still a nice set in a lot of ways, especially for the Megazord. It's very confusing. I have a hard time because it's like these are lesser in some ways, but you get the Megazord. So basically, thank you for listening to me arguing with myself for the last 45 seconds. And until next time, make sure you get the Crazy Podcast at writersrangerambles.com. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.